Hey everyone, and welcome to another Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a pretty crucial part of life, the classroom. Whether you're currently navigating high school, gearing up for university, or just looking to sharpen up your conversational English, mastering academic vocabulary is absolutely essential. So let's just jump right in and follow a student through a typical academic day.
Here is our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll step inside the English classroom. Then, we'll explore some common school subjects. After that, we'll tackle a massive grammar hurdle, doing versus making homework. And finally, we'll wrap up with exams, grades, and degrees.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, Inside the English Classroom. Now, I want you to take a second and actually picture the room where you usually study, or maybe the room where you first started learning English. Try to visualize the desk, the walls, and the tools you use every single day. Getting that strong mental image is going to really help lock in the vocabulary we're about to cover. So look closely at this desk here. We've got a lot of familiar, everyday things, but can you actually name these desktop objects in English? Take a good look. We have the thing you write with, the thing you write in, something long to measure with, a little red pen. What are the exact English terms for all of these?
Well, let's see how you did. Here are the correct terms for those essential desk items. We've got your textbook, which of course contains your actual lessons, and your notebook, where you jot everything down. Then there's a ruler for measuring, and naturally, a pencil and a pencil sharpener. Oh, and don't forget that little red drawing pin we use to stick things to a board. You also have a board rubber, a standard pen, and a piece of paper. Seeing them all listed out like this is a great way to securely bridge the gap between the physical object and its exact English spelling.
But learning doesn't just happen right at your desk. If we zoom out and look around the rest of the room, we have the whiteboard, where the teacher writes, and the notice board, where announcements are pinned up. You're sitting at a desk, and there might be a computer nearby. And actually, this brilliantly illustrates how classrooms kind of hold on to different eras of technology, because you might still find a DVD player or even an OHP, which stands for overhead projector, just kind of hanging around in some educational settings today.
Moving right along to Section 2, Exploring School Subjects.
So, you're sitting at your desk, you've got your pencil and notebook totally ready to go. Now, imagine the bell rings and it's time to check the timetable to figure out exactly what classes we're taking today. It is absolutely crucial to know how to confidently talk about your schedule. For instance, biology is all about animals and plants. History explores the past, like, say, the 15th century. When you study chemistry, you're dealing with formulas like H2O, water. Physics explores the complex laws of the universe, famously represented by E equals mc squared, and geography involves learning all about the countries of the world. Along with subjects like maths, these are pretty universal concepts, but knowing the precise English terms helps you discuss your academic life so much more smoothly.
Now, beyond those core subjects, you are definitely going to encounter some tricky acronyms on your timetable. Two of the most common ones are PE and ICT. PE stands for physical education, so that's your sports and exercise class. ICT stands for Information Communication Technology, which is all about computers and digital skills. Memorize these two, and I promise you'll never feel lost when reading a standard school schedule again.
Okay, on to Section 3, Doing versus Making Homework.
The school day is officially over, and we're following our student home. But, as we all know, the academic work isn't quite finished yet. Now we have to tackle one of the absolute most frequent grammatical roadblocks for English learners. Seriously, this is a real insider tip that will instantly make your English sound so much more native and natural. Here it is. After school, students do homework. They do not make homework, and they definitely do not do homeworks. First off, homework is an uncountable noun in English. That means we literally never add an S to the end of it. And crucially, it pairs with one specific verb.
Let's break this down just a bit further to see exactly why. We have do versus make. You do homework, you do an exam, or you do the washing. Why? Because the verb do is generally used for executing tasks, routines, and chores. On the flip side, you make a mistake, make a noise, make a bed, or make an appointment. The verb make usually involves creating something brand new, or producing an outcome that wasn't there before. Remember this distinction, and you will easily avoid one of the most common pitfalls in all of English vocabulary.
And finally, Section 4, Exams, Grades, and Degrees.
All right, so we've done our homework all year long, and now we're fast-forwarding to the end of the academic year. It is time to focus on the high-stakes vocabulary of testing and academic results. First things first, let's quickly reinforce that rule we just learned with a specific high-stakes example. You take or do an exam. You never ever make an exam. Well, unless you're the teacher who's actually writing the questions. But for students, you take it or you do it. Simple as that.
Let's map out the chronological sequence of this whole academic progression. Step 1. You study for an exam. Step 2. You take or do the exam. Step 3. You get your results, meaning you either pass the exam or, unfortunately, fail the exam. Finally, if you pass enough exams at university, we reach Step 4. You get a degree. Notice the specific verbs we're using here. Study, take, pass, get. Connecting these specific verbs to their nouns in a logical, chronological story is pretty much the absolute best way to lock them into your memory permanently.
And just like that, our academic journey comes to a close. But before we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a quick thought experiment so you can immediately apply what we've just covered. If you had to take an exam tomorrow, what subject would you choose? Would it be biology, history, maybe ICT? Think about exactly how you'd say it in English using a precise vocabulary we went over today. Keep practicing these terms in your daily life, and your English is going to sound incredibly sharp. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep up the great learning.